So what are your thoughts about Drake, the artist? Are you a fan? Yes, no, maybe so, no. To each their own. Yes, cool. All right, whatever. But when it comes to Drake, Drizzy Drake, or AKA Aubrey, uh, people love his music. Some hate it. Anyway, I'm being redundant. Uh, Apparently, maybe you can get big enough to where you end up being a curse on the industry you brought music to. I don't know. But apparently, according to HipHopMadness, Drake has an unintentional curse on hip hop. And that's what we're gonna be reacting to today. So let's go ahead and get in on this. We're like, what? Let's go.
Drake's run at the top has been so unprecedented. It's unfair. Like, we can't even have a conversation of if he's fallen off because the defeated every rumor of a fall off to the point where now just saying he's gonna do this for eternity. Does anyone even think about him falling off? And you know why no one thinks about him falling off? Because there's no other option. Remember Lil Baby, that slipped on a wet spot and fell. Kendrick is in Ghana still. Cole is riding around bicycles in Tribeca. Yo, Drake's the only one who's yo, bruh.
In hip hop, things are constantly changing. While one
I get it. Like, those other rappers are kind of exploring the world, getting some culture in them. You can't be mad at them for that. You know what I'm saying? Except for Baby. He really fucked up.
artist is rising, another is slowly losing ground. At the same time, new sounds gain traction just as others start to feel washed or outdated. This is the natural life cycle of hip-hop. The old make way for the young, who then create new sounds and go from there. It's how it's always worked and how it's always been. But these days, things have taken an unexpected turn. Whether he meant to or not, Drake finds himself in a landscape where he's unequaled. Where there was previously always someone else lurking behind the throne, Drake isn't just keeping the seat warm, he's etched his name into it. And just as they say that Tom Cruise is the last Hollywood megastar, Drake is currently the last of his ilk in the game. But now that he's teetering closer to 40, it's causing genuine concern among critics and fans.
Drake can't retire just for music's sake, and this is gonna make me sound like an old hater, but this is the first time in rap history, in my opinion, that there hasn't been a solidified new generation of superstar. Every single generation we've had, the biggest person could retire because we knew we had this next generation that was solidified. This is the first time we won't have a new superstar solidified.
As the genre morphs and the industry continues to shift, Drake has always moved with it, finding a way to keep himself ingrained into the culture and, perhaps more importantly, the top of the Billboard. To some, this has been Drake's unintentional curse on hip-hop, caused by him covering too much ground and, quite honestly, mastering the game. And while there's an argument to be made that it was subconscious on Drizzy's part and just a testament to how talented he is, the other side is much more cynical. So, let's dive in. The notion that Drake's presence as a chart-topping megastar would spark hip-hop isn't new. In fact, people have been theorizing about the potential damage he could do even before he was signed.
Hold on, real quick, can we just go back real quick, touch on how, that guy said there was no artist yet that, people can think, all right, if Drake retires, that's fine because we have this other artist. There's literally no, damn, that's a spot to be in. Do you think Drake feels any pressure from that? Or do you think he's just chilling, yeah, okay, I'm working on my next song? Do you think he's even worried about that at all or not? But do you think he even cares? Do you think he even thinks about retiring? Or is he just loving the lifestyle and doing what he does? Can't blame him for either or, I guess. You know what I'm saying? If he's done enough to where that if he wants to retire, you can't be mad at it. And if he wants to keep going, you can't be mad at it. And of course, people will be mad if he leaves because damn, who else is doing it like that right now? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah.
In a piece for Vice titled The Pillage, Why Drake is Bad for Hip-Hop, writer Barry Schwartz broke down Drake's rise and explained how he basically remolded the sound of the game to fit his specifications. Before anyone had an opportunity to object, and before he'd even released his first album, Drake had already been nominated for a Grammy and successfully homogenized the sound of mainstream hip-hop to accommodate him. Today, the industry has never been smaller, the machine has never been bigger, and Drake is too big to fail. Looking at where we are now, it's hard not to see this as a premonition. But how does Drake being too big to fail stifle others? Well, just look at what happens when he's putting on new artists. Although the likes of Lil Baby and 21 Savage have saluted Drizzy for the role he played in their fame, for every successful artist with a lengthy career, there's a party next door, Quentin Miller, or The Weeknd. I mean, just look at how he basically leveraged The Weeknd's lack of resources to make him give up half of the songs he'd made for House of Balloons. Generally, Drake working with other artists is regarded as benevolent for his willingness to put on other artists. But, as examples like The Weeknd's prove, it isn't always as charitable as it looks, and is often about keeping Drake's sound fresh, not necessarily advancing others. Back in 2015, Earl Sweatshirt noticed this pattern and spoke out after people began to claim that he'd put on a young Kodak Black. Drake can be a bit of a vulture on young rappers, and I don't want Lil Kodak to be a victim of it, he said in a series of posts.
Ooh.
I still feel like Drake's overall statement isn't, check out this new I heard. It's always self-serving. I guess you're right, he said while responding to a fan. It's not his job to
wait.
It's always self-series of posts. I still feel like Drake's overall statement isn't, check out this new I heard. It's always self-serving. I guess you're right, he said while responding to a fan.
Is that, I guess because it's like, you know, yeah. Ooh, hold on. Also, I just noticed HipHopMadness got that Powerpuff Girl symbol going on in the top right there. But I guess it is like, no, him putting on new artists is kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, yo, I'm gonna do this song with this new artist. We gonna collaborate. This guy going in, I'm going in. We doing our thing. You know what I'm saying? Boom, here's the song. Instead of being, I guess it would be more helpful to the newer artists if it was like, check out this new shit I heard. But you can't really guarantee that the Drake audience would listen to that new artist that he just, you know, gave a shout out to, because you know, they might not care, and he's not on it. But if he is on that song with them, then they might listen to that song just because Drake is on there. But it's more difficult for the audience to start caring about that new artist, because they might listen to the song just because Drake's on it, just because Drake is on it. They might not start, but at the same time, they might not start caring about who the new artist is because they don't really care. They just want to listen to the song because Drake was on it. Obviously, the new artist still might gain some form of traction from that. But I see it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's never, check out this new artist. It can be a little more self-serving because it's like he's keeping himself relevant by working with the newer artist, you know? I don't know, man. I'm not mad at it, and I'm not mad at it or anything. It's like, it is a way to keep yourself relevant. Yeah, sure. But at the same time, it would also be like, if he did that and then also did, yo, so and so, the artist I worked with before, that song with before, just dropped a new album, or just dropped a mixtape, or just dropped an EP, whatever. With it, when he's not on it, like if he took that extra step, I don't know if he does or doesn't, but if he did take that extra step, that would be, that'd be different. You know what I'm saying? He could be like, hey, yo, remember so and so? Yeah, they just dropped this. You should check that shit out. And without him being on it at all, that would be, I guess, a little less. That would take out the quote unquote self-serving part, and also add in the check out this new artist, or don't forget about this new artist. You know, I don't know, but is that something to maybe it's technically the secret to his longevity. You know, working with new artists and having that. If you want to look at this as the self-serving way, if you want to look at it as that way, it could be like, check out this new artist. I mean, not to check out this, but I did a song with a new artist that's coming up. Like that is a self-serving longevity way, if you want to look at it like that. And you can't be mad at him for it. It can be a reason. It can be a reason why he is still, you know, up there. Why he's still in relevance and shit. But anyway.
Man, it's not his job to develop them as artists, but the line between paying homage and wave riding is a blurry one.
True.
While some may have considered Earl's reaction an overreaction back then, Today, this directly ties into academics' theory on why Drake is always first to work with new artists. Basically, he's taking out the competition before they can rival him.
Drake has
Damn.
successfully cleared himself of a number 2. Hear me out. Drake rocked all these newcomers to sleep that could be possibly an incumbent. Okay, little baby, all right, bet. Drake never hates on the new guy. He just shows him overly love and almost gets credit for the new guy come up. Then after a while, he steps away from the and never looks the same. All of the legit competitors for Drake stop focusing on music.
This also holds weight when it comes to how he
Competitors for Drake, he steps away from the and never looks the same. All of the legit competitors for Drake stop focusing on music.
This also holds
Damn.
weight when it comes to how he treated Fetty Wap when it came time for the My Way remix, completely ignoring any request that Fetty made before ghosting him entirely.
That was
Damn.
Monty's breakthrough record. When he jumped on the record, you know, the first thing I asked him, like, yo, can you just take my verse off and keep Monty up there and it just be, let me be on the hook? The first and last time I ever spoke to him, when he asked me to get on the song, that was it. I haven't even seen him in person yet. I reached out to him maybe like 2019 and nothing.
Where other rappers have
Damn.
historically guarded their spot with hostility or aggression, Drake's greatest weapon has been his apparent friendship. Just look at what he did to Jack Harlow.
You feel like he bodied you on your own? When you heard Drake's verse, did you want to rewrite yours?
Did you know that on average, there are around 5 million car accidents every year in the US?
Hit
and
us
a lot
with
of
the
those
ad
accidents
right
happen
there.
during
Didn't
the
even
holiday
ease us
season.
into
Even
it.
worse, a lot of victims don't feel comfortable suing for damages.
Bro didn't even ease us into the ad. Just hit us with it just out of nowhere. Look what he did to Jack Harlow. And then the little interviews hit, and then bam! Morgan and Morgan ad. Bro didn't even ease us into it. Nothing like blah blah blah. By the way, Drake would do the same thing to this car. By the way, if your car has had an accident, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. At least ease us into that shit. Damn, son.
Don't feel bad for suing. When you sue for injury, you're not suing the middle-aged man who nodded off at the driver's seat. You're suing his
You know
integrity.
what?
The best part is,
just because I didn't get a segue for it, just because we didn't get an ease into the ad, a segue into the sponsor, I'm gonna skip it. I'm sorry, but not sorry.
since Churchill Downs dropped, or dial #LAW. That's pound 529. Since Churchill Downs dropped, the consensus is that Drizzy washed him on his own track. In the aftermath, Jack deluded himself into believing that it wasn't meant to put him in his place, but was actually meant to be a salute. And during an interview on The Breakfast Club, he outlined his theory to a very skeptical Charlemagne and Envy.
I feel like that's one of my best verses. But he went so crazy that I was like, yo, I'm gonna have to add bars or everyone's gonna say he bodied me on my. I actually feel like it comes from a place of respect almost because they had to get into that bag. I don't know how I could ever feel disrespected because what are you supposed to tell somebody? Yo, take it easy. Some of his bars meant so much to me that I could tell that he was like tipping his hat to me in a way that made me feel great, so.
The same could be said for an artist from his own city, in Tory Lanez. Back when Tory was first making waves, Drake was sending shots, spitting on Do Not Disturb that if we do a song, it's like taking my kids to work with me. You overnight celebrity, you one day star, swear I told you that I'm in this for eternity. I am a reflection of all your insecurities. However, once it was established that Tory was no longer a threat, they were soon touring together with Tory exactly where he wanted him, as his opening act. And just as he may harness an artist's momentum or use it to help them derail themselves with a timeless feature, there's an argument to be made that he does the same thing with his sound. Rather than ever rigidly sticking to one sound, Drake has taken a globe-trotting approach to his music, which has often seen him labeled as a vulture by artists in the UK, Jamaica, and Africa. This is an allegation that he's always refuted, instead claiming that he simply shines a much-needed spotlight.
You know, I definitely feel like because when I do things, they do get magnified and amplified, people can sometimes feel uncomfortable. You know, one dance goes #1. But like, you know, WizKid was on the song with me. You know, I had blessings from like the real dons in that space. I know those guys, I link with those guys, I go to their shows, they come to my shows, they touch my stage. The chatter is one thing, but in the community, amongst the real G's that are really doing it, I'm solidified for sure.
The flip side of that coin is that he is once again using the innovative sound of others to keep himself afloat. It's a sore point when people like Drake or Bieber or other artists come and do dancehall-oriented music, but don't credit where dancehall came from, and they don't necessarily understand it, Sean Paul told The Guardian. Whether it's the grime pioneer Wiley accusing him of exploiting UK rappers, or Mavado taking aim at him for using dancehall for his own ends, it's clear that what Drake sees as valuable contributions, some view as self-serving and advantageous to him. But because everyone knows the numbers he generates, no one rejects him shoehorning his way into any bubbling wave in hip-hop or any other genre. It's only after he's moved on to the next wave that people realize that even if his intentions were genuine, he was the one who gained the most from it. As a result, when he was shut out from Trance on Metro Boomin's recent album, it was newsworthy to the extent that people assumed there must have been beef, even though in Metro's eyes, he just wasn't the right fit.
Damn, man. When it comes to like, quote unquote, using other artists' style, vibe, whatever you want to call it, it kind of gives me, you know what I'm saying? It reminds me of the things people were saying about, Triple X. Triple X is not, you know what I'm saying? For a hot second when that one song came out when he was in jail. I don't remember the fucking song. That song name, I apologize for that. But you know what I'm saying? But anyway.
I was just in the studio with Drake one time because we were going to do some stuff for my album, and he just wanted to hear some songs from my album. Then he heard that one and really wanted to get on it. I was letting him know that he was really just done for real, and I was really just set on how it was. I was like, bro, I ain't even trying to sell you no dream. I'm locked in where it was. He hit me and was just like, man, let me see if it's just anything he could add to it. And he was like, if you don't like it, then whatever. He did some stuff, a couple parts was cool, but like I just felt like just even with like slime verse and trap verse and the outro, it just really wasn't no room. I just ended up using the original, and I guess the other one just leaked or something.
Through Metro's approach, we see a way that Drake's overarching dominance could have been avoided, or at least minimized. Rather than looking at the short-term gain that comes from getting Drizzy's name on your album, Metro did what was best for the sound of his project, and didn't allow the whole body of work to be overshadowed by Drake. Granted, people are just waking up to this now. Just look at the overwhelmingly negative response to his feature on Jay Hoose's Who Told You, where the majority of people felt he ruined the track, with some listeners going out of their way to edit Drake's verse off the song entirely. But when it comes to Drake's true, unintentional curse on hip-hop, the major issue is that if he was just a little brave, he could have had every opportunity to help artists in a way that goes way beyond features. Considering how much clout he has in the industry, and as hip-hop's biggest star, he's excluded from some of the traps that many of them have to face. But rather than speak out for streaming reform or vie for them to get their masters back, he just focuses on getting his. While no one is saying that he's obligated to do these things, it certainly would have done a lot to dispel the notion that he just takes and takes without giving back. If ever there was a perfect example of this, it was when he had the chance of going independent and instead aligned himself once more with Universal. By taking this step as the world's biggest artist, he reiterated the disheartening message that major labels were the way to go. If he'd gone the other way, it could have been so different.
You think that if Drake right now, completely independent, if Drake right now posts a picture on the gram of his new album out, fully independent, Drake will make $10 million a week for 60 weeks?
By the way, Drake is about to get the biggest bag in the history of the music business by far. They don't want that to happen because the day that happens, you might as well close the business down. If Drake goes independent, the music business is over.
Functioning more like a corporate entity than a person at this point, it doesn't even matter if his music is increasingly getting worse so long as he keeps feeding the consumer. And rather than grooming a successor via OVO or letting an artist grow organically without him taking his mandated percentage of the shine, Drizzy has left mainstream hip-hop without any viable alternative.
Drake's run at the...
Damn. So what you think? Is that in unintentional curse? Or is it more like a is it more like a chess move? You know what I'm saying? Is it more like some Death Note shit? You know what I'm saying? Like whoever sees the other person's name and face first wins. And instead of name and face, it's just like whoever approaches and puts them on first, and then in order to stay relevant, I don't know. I'm just saying, bro. It's damn. You can't help but feel a little bit sorry for these other artists that he has worked with and who have fallen off. But at the same time, Drake is doing his thing. You gotta respect him for it. And like they said in the video, it's not Drake's. It is not Drake's responsibility to, coddle these artists and make sure he watches over their career in the game. You feel me? he just, hey yo, I'm gonna put you on, but you gotta do your thing still. It's your job to make sure you stay relevant however you want to. And if those artists still keep doing the same thing, expecting, you know, yeah, I did a song with Drake, I made it now, or I'm gonna get, you know, much more attention now. But you don't change up, or you don't try to take that influence hit and run with it, try to skyrocket that shit. That's on them though. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like I do see how Drake could have done just a little more to help them stay in the game. But you know, it's whatever. You feel me? I was gonna say who did it for him, but at the same time, he did work with Young Money for a long time. He was on a lot of their hooks and songs and everything, so that kind of helped him out. You feel me? But the same, you know, it depends on how you want to look at it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And as always, link to the video and link to the channel will both be in the description below. So be sure to check out HipHopMadness. And while you're there, don't forget to do those 3 things that I like to ask you to do. And like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell for more videos. Yeah. And you know what it is after that, in case I don't see you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace, and much love to you.